I am making something super fun today, guys, and you're gonna love it. It's cream puffs with a raspberry filling and chocolate sauce. To start off with making cream puffs, though, you have to make pate, which is a classic pastry that's used for eclairs and cream puffs and all kinds of fantastic desserts. To make it, you start off on the stove, actually, with a cup of water and a stick of butter. You need to melt those together with a teaspoon of sugar, and if you're me, little pinch of salt. Let your butter melt in your water. When the butter's completely melted, just briefly remove it from heat. I just turn off the heat and add a cup of all-purpose flour. And you stir it in till it's fully combined, and then return it to the heat or turn the heat back on to a medium. And what you look for here is you're trying to cook off as much of the moisture as you can, because you're going to add some eggs later, and you want to replace the moisture that you cooked off with the eggs moisture. So you cook stirring on top of the stove until it gets nice and dry. Remove it from the heat completely and let it cool for about 2 minutes. When the dough's cooled just a bit, you can transfer it to a mixer. You can use a hand mixer for this, but I think that the standing mixer works really well if you have one. It's a great use for this. I just like to beat just a little bit to release a little bit more of that steam, because what you're going to do is add eggs, and you don't want the eggs to start cooking. So what you do is you add 4 eggs, one at a time, and you just beat till it combines and it gets really nice and elastic. All right, add the other egg, and then another one. If you dried your dough out properly, you should easily get 4 eggs added in, and sometimes you might even need to add just a little bit more. You can whisk together a 5th egg and add a tiny bit at a time if necessary. I think this is looking pretty good. Nice and stretchy. Put it into a pastry bag. I like to put my pastry bags into quart containers just so it stands upright, and I don't have to try to hold on to the pastry bag while I'm filling it. You also fold the top of the pastry bag down, and then that part stays nice and clean. Oh, so many tips and tricks I'm sharing with you. Have your oven preheating to 425 degrees, and then line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper. I'm just going to go ahead and pipe 1-inch rounds, leaving about 1 inch between each one. To anchor your parchment paper so that it doesn't slide around while you're piping, you can pipe a tiny bit of the pate choux into the corners, and that'll hold the paper down. Nifty little trick, huh? I like to pipe straight down and then like a little flick of the wrist to pull it off. If you were making profiteroles, you would do the exact same thing that I'm doing here, and then you would fill them with ice cream. Make them a little bit bigger, maybe. You might want to wet your finger just a little bit there's sometimes a little peak on the top, and just pat that down with a damp finger. Get them into a 425 degree oven and bake for 10 minutes, then reduce the temperature to 350 and bake until they're puffed, golden, and cooked through about 30 minutes more. To finish your cream puffs off, you want to make a chocolate glaze and then a raspberry filling with whipped cream. So bring a half a cup of heavy cream to a boil with a tablespoon of corn syrup. When your cream comes to a boil, pour it immediately over 4 ounces of chopped semi-sweet chocolate. Don't stir it yet, because you want to give the heavy cream time to warm up the chocolate a little bit so you can get your whipped cream mixture ready while you're waiting. Here are my cooled cream puffs. You want to make a small hole in the bottom of each puff to pipe the filling in. You can use a skewer as small as you think that you can to actually also then get the filling in. So 1/4 of an inch might work, might need to be slightly bigger. This part of the cream puff can be made ahead, baked and frozen, and then defrosted excellently. For the filling, 1 cup of cream that I've whipped. I'm gonna give it one more whisk just to make sure it's stiff enough, because you want it to hold up. If it's too soft, it'll just ooze out. And to that, add 1/4 cup of raspberry jam. You can use any flavor you want. You want these to be strawberry? Go ahead and use strawberry. You want to whisk this in till everything is fully combined. I'm going to set this aside for just a sec while I stir my glaze together. Once the chocolate has had the hot cream on it for a couple of minutes, about 5 minutes, it should smooth out really, really easily. There we go. That's our glaze. Now you can transfer your filling to a pastry bag. You can still use a resealable bag with the end snipped off as well. I can't tell you how badly I want to just stick my finger in there and start eating the whipped cream. Kind of crazy whipped cream addict. Then you can just pipe the cream into your cream puffs. Doesn't take too much to fill them up. These are hollow inside. Maybe I should show you what they look like inside. It's actually kind of cool. When they bake up, they puff up and they create a hollow inside, and that's what is filled with the cream. Isn't that cool? Dip the top of each of your cream puffs in the chocolate glaze. Aren't those pretty? Yes, they are. These are so elegant and really quite easy. And since you can make these puffs completely ahead, they're a great dessert for the holidays because you can get really ahead and then put it together at the last minute and everybody will be completely impressed. I'm gonna try one. You're supposed to let them sit in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, but I can't wait, so I'm just gonna eat one right now. It's gonna get all over my face. I'm just warning you guys. So fantastic. Give this recipe a try and make it for your holiday dessert.